All right, everybody. Welcome to what is the fourth set in the bracket. We will be throwing these on in sets so you guys can see where they are in the bracket as we go through on YouTube. And yeah, Funky Knight did play. This will be his set against New Normal here. Game number one will always be Battlegrounds. And as far as Civ draft and everything went, we're not really too concerned about that in the early rounds, but we do have Slavs for Knight Noble, and he actually allowed for his opponent, New Normal, to be Mongols here. So, New Normal, Knight Noble, say that 10 times fast, gonna be something difficult, but gonna just set you guys on view lock for a quick second as I pull up the scoreboard and we get everything situated here. Scoreboard is obviously still from yesterday, but we'll get that situated real quick. I was also running behind this evening, so I haven't had much of a chance to fix everything. But how is everybody? And yeah, I agree. He usually did pick Bulgarians here, so I'll look at the draft in a second here and see if that may have been sniped. He was pretty vocal about that as well, so maybe his opponent did go ahead and snipe that one from him. And why can I not click? Here we go. Alright, scoreboard is up to date, guys. Yeah, Slav's an odd choice here. So, real quick, just so you guys are aware of home maps and everything as I get off of the lock. And we see New Normal pushing in that hunt, which is going to be a huge, huge bonus for Mongols. Massive lead there. And we have Knight bringing in a boar to his TC with Slavs. Not a bad thing there. New Normal actually banned Lithuanians, picked Mongols, Italians, Berbers, and Franks, and Knight banned Mayans, picked Slavs, Byzantines, Indians, and Tatars. So we're to see how this works out for him. Slavs, pick that I've seen on this map. Nothing too spectacular from it just yet, though. So we will have to wait and see how this plays out. Both players sitting in their base at home. If you guys aren't familiar with the tournament or this map, this is Battlegrounds. All of the additional res, hunt, herdables, and gold and stone is in the middle of the map. Small downhill wood lines all the way around the outside, starting with very limited resources, which I didn't really touch on at the start because I was fixing a few issues with the scoreboard and whatnot. But Knight gonna be out here, gonna collect the additional hunt. It's gonna be a nice bonus for him. Meanwhile, looks like New Normal is bringing in quite a bit of herdables, not quite gone out to the center. But yeah, this is a really bad matchup for Knight. I mean, Slavs against Mongols, not a matchup that you want to have happen. Obviously, Mongols with a big civ advantage here, and we'll see how this one works out. Obviously, late game is going to heavily favor Mongols, so Knight is going to have to be very aggressive here in the early going and try to get some damage in nice and early. It looks like we're going to have a 19 pop up, looks like, for New Normal, as he's going to attempt to get up. Should be fine here with that, no problem. And then on the opposite side, let's check Knight's resources. Yeah, he's going to have a bit of a later feudal, so quicker up times have paid off quite heavily on this map. It's going to be very important to see what happens, as New Normal actually going out here with Loom, probably going to bring this boar all the way in. And honestly, with a Loomedville, not going to be a bad situation for himself. Does not hit it twice, though. Walks too far away, de-aggroing the boar. So a little bit of idle time here coming in for New Normal. Not a terrible position for himself, though, as he is already on his way up. Going to have quite the lead there. No barracks just yet. Going to need to get that up. And I've seen Knight do this a few times as well. He brings a forward barracks into the middle, obviously going to try to defend this with some early spears, and honestly should be up in a decent enough time to do so. Only a few herdables left here, as he did push some deer as well. Oh, and this is unfortunate. New is having some villagers kill some pigs outside of the range of which you'd want. Not ideal for himself. We do have new normal going out here for some additional hunt. It's going to be a pretty nice position for himself. Boar does finally get brought in here. One vill goes down in the process though, so new normal going up early. Not going to have a villager lead by any means now. First scout is on its way forward. I think the vills will probably fight this if they have to, I guess, and then some walls just to the TC, it looks like, is what Knight is selecting to do here. But the villagers should have been spotted. Actually, yeah, Knight actually just runs back and try to play this a little bit more safe. As far as Fog of War goes here, we have new normal knowing exactly where his opponent is by those two houses. Knight having very bad scouting here, very idle. Oh, this is going to be difficult. Even if he is able to fend off any sort of attacks, he's going to have to find his opponent, has no clue where he is, so we have to keep an eye on that. Only one scout so far. Two scouts from new normal, and he's actually going to add in a spearman for defense, so he's expecting scouts as well. Vil will be caught out here. Walls will be kept open, but not sure it's going to be enough to do too much. Spearman is going to come out here in the middle. Score-wise is mostly scouting right now, as we saw just a second ago, but pretty hefty advantage right now. Knight also down a few vills. Looks like he's having a little bit of a sloppy build going on. No wood to put on these berries out front here. 3 scouts to 1. There is also that additional spearman, which is quite nice for Knight, but Slav farm bonus going to be something to look into, as it will compare pretty well with new normal in the early going here until we get a few more upgrades on those farms. They are still going to be faster, but obviously having to refresh more often than just shooting some free resources out here going to be a factor. Nevertheless, an archery range up here, going to gold already, is new normal. He's also getting his walls built up at home. Both players electing for very small walls here, not a bad position for either player. And honestly, military's not going to be too crazy for either. Pretty even right now. Villagers are going to be important. Knight is housed. Only building with 1 vill right now too. A lot more houses available. A few idols here for new normal. Spearmen are out on the field for both players. Neither player has any upgrades on these military units, so would not expect to see a big investment into this right now. Blacksmith is coming up though for Knight, so maybe he's thinking about adding in at least a defensive upgrade. Nevertheless, not a whole lot of damage can be done for either player. Both players are very close to their TCs. No exposed vills really, except for these out here, but there are a few spearmen for new normal. Knight is scouting around here. Fog of War should be pretty good now for both players, as Knight does know where his opponent is. He's just looping around here trying to hope there's a hole, which I don't know. I think there it's walled there, but we're about to find out. Well, at the same time, we have the same thing going for new normal, and Knight is just going to end up attacking some palisades. 4 scouts looking to dive, though. Might do some damage here. TC's only going to do so much. Quick wall attempts are failed. Scouts are going to be able to get a bit of damage in here, but looks like we're only going to have 1 vill down, and then looks like we're going to see him run. Not a bad trade, I suppose. Created some idle time, but not great. And now we have Knight just coming back home. So we have a bigger investment here for Knight as his resources are fairly stretched at the moment. More military out on the field. So would expect a wheelbarrow is actually coming in for Knight too, so that will definitely improve his economy. 5 scouts out on the field here compared to the 7 military of new normal, and that is going to be 1 archer and 4 scouts, 4 spearmen, 1 scout. So those scouts for Knight likely not going to get a whole lot of damage in. He could find a few Vil picks right here if he gets up there in time, but looks like he was worried about leaving those alone, so not going to find any damage here. Market coming up for Knight, so potentially looking to use that to his advantage. And yeah, it takes a 2-for-1 kill here, but has to run from these spears. Might be able to snipe some Vils if he gets over here, but new normal paying attention, going to run those in the opposite direction. Pretty close game. It looks like Knight is going to be behind by a few villagers here, which is understandable since he's lost a few on the wood line. Nothing too crazy though. Wheelbarrow also kind of making up for the fact that Knight is slightly behind here. I do not believe I saw Wheelbarrow come in here, but maybe it did, and maybe I'm just missing that. Mill continues to be something of use for New as he moves up to some more, which is really nice. Both players on their way to the Castle Age, so Knight not really able to strike too early. Double archery range, potentially looking into a CA play, which I actually really like CA on this map. Limited stone can be very difficult to get a lot of castles up to do anything with that, so not a bad play, and these scouts aren't really going to do any damage here. Would have liked to have seen some skirms added here from Knight. I think that would have been a beneficial thing, and here they are now coming in, so maybe he's expecting the CA play. He'll add a stable and add skirmishers, so we'll see what that works out for him here, as he is causing a bit of idle time, creating some more palisades to be built, but nothing too crazy. Blacksmith finally on its way up here for new normal. Scouts really haven't accomplished too much here, and they're just going to take some HP losses. Not a great situation. Both players have reached Castle Age. Knight is electing to get bloodlines, and he's going for a few knights of his own. And then on the other side we have fletching, and it will be cav archers and camels. So this is going to be a very interesting comp. Going to be interesting to see if he can keep this up. Second TC already on its way for him, and Knight not yet placing that TC. Good to see both players being very active though, and both players did attempt to take some res in the middle. Knight did choose to abandon it a little bit early, but didn't want to lose any vills, tried to play it a little safer. Only have a +1 attack and bloodlines in for Knight with Slavs, and then we have a few eco upgrades coming in at both. Cav Archer's going to move out in low numbers here, but that will probably do the trick, as Spearmen doing a nice job of defending here. Knights only have +1. We have Botkin Arrow coming in now for Knight. So Knight working on getting all of his upgrades here, but not +2 defense, which is kind of going to be an issue against Cav Archers. Does have Elite Skirm already in though, so it's not the end of the world there. CA numbers, if you allow CA to mass, especially faster firing CA for Mongols, could become a real problem. Gold, very exposed here. This is why I was wondering if we would see that town center, but yeah, Cav Archers are going to be moving in here. They only have fletching, so not the greatest upgrades, but Knight has his military there and will be able to defend for now. Still would like to see that second TC for him, even if he gets it in the middle, would be beneficial. The hit and run antics of Cav Archers with pikemen, and there was a camel. There's 2 camels on the field here, so going to be very important to see how this works out. Skirmishers also here going to take some very nice shots here, picking off a few Cav Archers, always a big plus in my book whenever you're facing them. Gotta try to keep them from massing too heavily. And all this blue on the mini-map that you guys are seeing. Other than this, town center that's coming forward, and I like this town center. I think he should send his skirmishers and knights over to defend, but if it goes up, it'll be a very good position for Knight, as he will secure himself a gold and a relic, most likely something he's going to need to look into here. Town Center also forward for New Noble, who is New and Normal, who is switching to a Town Center out here in the middle, being very greedy with only a 1 TC build on it, but it looks like he's going to start to shift into camels, and camel only could be devastating. I think this will go up, might lose a vill or 2 in the process, but nope. New Normal does notice, so this is going to be noticed. Looks like at least 1 or 2 vills should go down here. Oh, and Knight just abandons it actually, so more vills probably die than they should have. Could have just hit that a little bit more and been fine, I think, but skirmishers should be able to pick off these spears and finally deal with that. Knight does get his second town center up. And camels against knights and scouts, not the greatest, but when they're just running through, not going to be taking any terrible losses, but skirmishers, Cav Archers, would rather have camel skirmisher, or camel Cav Archer. Knight going to do a good job to micro down the numbers here. Step Lancers on its way out for our Mongol player as well, and a much better fight for Knight than I think he thought it was going to be, microing down a good number of CA. Economy numbers behind this though, New Normal does have the lead, getting those town centers up much earlier, especially this one in the back. Market on its way. Have not seen a university for either player just yet. Gonna see some more houses coming down here for Knight. And more Cav Archers dying here, so the KD very, very heavily in favor of Knight Noble 24, but economy and, I mean, getting housed a lot. He's getting houses up in the back, but he's outproducing them. Slav farming eco though, 17 farms for Knight as compared to 17 for our Mongol player, which is still a very nice number, but Slav farmer is obviously going to be better. Camels come in, and Knight is going to take this fight, which I think is really the best he can hope for. It's just camel. It is a counter to his units, but it takes another very good trade here. His economy is starting to become an issue, though. He's only on 2 TCs. There comes the 3rd TC on stone, so we are going to see that switch onto stone for him. And I like this TC. It secures this stone. This gold will be a lot safer now as well. Knight needs to get some nice counter raids in here, but the production, well, it could hit over here. Looks like New Normal is kind of worried about that, sending the vills in that direction. Skirmishers going to do a little bit of harassing here along with these knights. Going to pick off a couple vills here, get that number to be ever so closer. If Knights finds this, might be a decent thing for him, but I don't know if he can take this fight, honestly. There's a lot of camels now. Knight numbers are not much. Yeah, and this is going to be a bad fight for Knight. He's realizes he's going to run away with the skirmishers. He really needs to start heavily massing numbers or getting his eco in order as well, as he has 14 idols right now, which is kind of unfortunate, but a lot of idols here for new normal as well. Skirmishers will likely die here, as a lot of knights have already gone down, which is unfortunate, and Knight decides to turn around and just take the fight, it looks like. You have taken quite a few good engagements here. This one, not the greatest, but does kill off a few more camels in the process. And this is kind of the problem right now. Slavs, what do you do against CA or Mengadai, let alone going up against camels? It's not ideal. Skirmisher's doing a good bit of damage here, so it's only +1 defense for new normal. So these fights are fairly decent, as we saw there, and the KD still pretty good. Economy-wise, though, Knight's catching up, actually, doing a really good job starting to balance that eco. Getting housed now is new normal. Refreshing the lumber camps, dropping yet another town center. Both players probably starting to look towards the Imperial Age soon. The economy numbers are starting to get to a decent spot. A lot of upgrades for these units have already come in. This camel army, though, for new normal is going to be quite a difficult thing for Knight to deal with this time. The camel numbers will just continue to grow. They shouldn't think about Imp for another fight. Yeah, I'm just saying they're both kind of just stalemating it out right now, and I think that they're starting to shift in that direction. I think that Knight needs to be more aggressive here. He had a decent position for himself. New normal has all the counters, and honestly, Mongols late game sitting in a great position. I mean, Slavs, even with their cheaper siege, not going to be the greatest against Mongols, especially if they get to Mengadai. Knight house yet again, and yeah, he's only got one bill dropping these houses. Castle potentially in the future for Knight. So we do have 14 camels here. Only 10 knights right now. I feel like the production's lacking. We're just kind of booming for both players right now. New normal going to be able to boom a lot more efficiently, as he has 4 town centers spread out across the map, compared to just the 1, 2, and 3 for Knight. Knight's patrol right into a mill, giving his opponent an idea of where he is. Camels are going to be able to come back and deal with that. Knight's still going to head forward and do some raiding. Will be Knights here with equal upgrades for Knight to defend. Will lose a villager in the process, though. Military production just not really there for either player. And yeah, there's the Imperial Age click, as we're just standing around having a quick chat, apparently. Yeah, Knight definitely looks rusty here. This is not the normal from what we've seen of Knight playing. But we'll see how things go. Eric Baum with the raid. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good to have you again. Thank you for the raid. This is the first casted set from the 1400 bracket for Battlegrounds Custom, and game 1. So guys are in good timing here. And a lot of camels here coming in. Skirmisher's going to be having a bad fight here. New normal decides to retreat from that fight after losing a few units. I think he's just going to wait for his Imperial Age upgrades, which at this point will likely just be heavy camel, as iron casting it comes in as well. This is going to be a nice castle here for both players, actually. But obviously Imperial Age already on its way for new normal, going to be in a much better position here. Knight about to click, needs second building, I bet. Yep, here's rushing up a monastery, and he's getting the castle up, so going to be significantly behind on that. Yep, Imp on its way. Hey, Manta, what's up? And Mongols with a castle, maybe Mengadai later, but I think we're just going to go into what likely will be CA and camel production here. Both players amassing a decent number of military, 0 relics collected for both at this time, something that would be of value to both going through the late game. Knight, just a few less TCs, but his villager numbers are about equal. Yeah, the Manta is his name here. He's not in this set, he's in the next set that we're casting. But his name on Twitch is Carl Zaro or something like that. So, thank you for the follow, Combat Disco Revolution. Love the name. Trebuchet on its way out here. Boyars starting to be produced. Boyars, skirmishers, knights, relics coming in now here for knight. But Imperial Age gonna be a little bit later. Counter units are out. I would expect to see heavy camel is about to complete here for new normal. As there it is, heavy camel. And now if there's a fight to be had, it's going to be a rough situation for Knight to take advantage of this. He needs to start repairing the castle as he sends those gold villagers over. But triple stable production and pikemen behind this. I disagree with the pikeman play. I don't think that's a great option to go with Mongols, but I mean, he is just going to try to get more and more military on the field. Ah, the Manta 7, you changed your name. Oh, well, thank you for letting me know. 2 trebuchets out. Once the third gets out, this castle will likely fall before it does a whole lot of damage. Cavalier and, what is this, scale barding? Plate barding? About to be in. Yeah, it is frustrating. Your name has changed so many times, Manta. Castle will go down here at night, just giving up, not even going to try to repair it. Feels bad, man. Another town center over here, and he is starting to put up barracks, so potentially thinking about pikemen himself, which would be a good move for him at this point. Infantry for Slavs are very good, especially with Jeruzia, which I don't believe he has the time or the res to get there, which is unfortunate, but heavy camel and a massive number of heavy camel headed into this town center. Skirmishers, Cavalier, and a few Boyar on its way out. This Treb will take this down, and all the villas will be exposed. New normal waiting to fight here, a little bit here, a little bit there, wanting to kill vills, I think. Or maybe just trying to gauge his opponent's strength. But heavy camel is going to be a very, very good counter here. The fight comes in, and it's going to be a devastating one. Camels holding their own. Knight Noble, yep, knows what's up. Calling the GG. Still unfortunate for him there. Camel's just such a good counter unit. Manta, yeah, Capture Age does not like my potato PC. So there is that. And that is the wrong player, guys. Apologies there. Updating the scoreboard and doing it incorrectly. How unfortunate. New normal takes game number 1. Pretty big Civ advantage here. Unfortunate that we saw it go down in this fashion. I would have liked to have seen Knight go something more heavy and feudal. Maybe some forward towers or something to really try to delay as much as possible the late game. I mean, Mongol post-Imperial, one of the hardest civs to beat. Statistics, there they are, real quickly. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. But we are going to move on to game number 2 here between New Normal and Knight Noble 24. Hitch was having some issues, guys. He'll be joining for the next set, I believe, if he's got everything fixed on his end. But
I do.
Ah, hello. Joining for us for game 2 then.
I could if you'd have me.
Of course. Did you get your PC issues figured out?
Enough.
Fair enough. All right, well,
Yeah, just
uh,
figuring it out.
all right. I'm gonna load into game number 2. Are you joining us then?
That's the plan.
All right, I'll get to 5 seconds and we'll be good to go.
I'm just trying to find it.
It's gonna be New Normal versus Night Noble on Knight's first home map selection, which will be Nomad Hubs. If you guys are unfamiliar with this map, the name is coming from these hubs as the mangroves and bog terrain. 250 wood per tree, gonna be the wood hub, and on the gravel terrain, it is a mineral terrain. Gold is at 1200 per block on there, and then in the dirt, it is gonna be just a lot of food. So the food hub, going to be very interesting to see how this map continues through the tournament. Very nice take, unique map for us on a no bad start. You do start with 4 villagers at the beginning as well.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
3, 2, 1, go. So I think I covered the intro on this map, but if there's anything else for you to add, Hitch, please chime in.
Oh, I don't think so. This map is it's a little messy. You have randomly scouting early on is important. You don't get one of these wood or gold piles. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble. But usually players don't have too much trouble with that though.
Yeah, I mean, in Knight dropping his house immediately and walking so far with all of his vills there, sees the town center almost immediately here for new normal. So he knows where this position is, and I could not have picked a harder combo of names to have against each other here. Gotta say, been stumbling over their names all night long. But yeah, this is gonna be really interesting. This map, I look forward to seeing a lot. I think we've seen it a lot already, but it has been so enjoyable. So many different things have happened on this thus far. It's the progression of players and their skills have go up in this one. Obviously, we got from a 1200 bracket to this being a 1400 bracket. It's going to be interesting to see the different strategies take place.
Yeah,
Indians, also an interesting civ for this map.
yeah. I mean, Indian's always good when you're expecting cavalry, and cavalry's pretty good on this map so far, right?
Yeah, I mean, quick scouts always being a huge plus, but yeah, I mean, Funky is suggesting that he go towards the next largest wood line, which I get. Knight's position here, I'm not a big fan of this starting TC. He walked all the way across the map, so he saw quite a bit, and I feel like that was he just wanted to get it done quickly, and he saw that he had a boar, some berries, wood line, and some gold, and just dropped it.
Yeah, this is a concerning position for Knight. He's really stuck in this corner here. If any pressure comes in, and there's not much res here. He's got some berries, he's got a boar, but very little gold. No stone nearby. Wood's always going to have.
Yeah, and I mean his opponent here, New Normal, sitting on one of these mineral terrains or gravel terrains, has enough gold to last him forever. Obviously gonna have to expand, but there are the hunt. He has a boar under the TC, deer, and forage bushes already there for himself. But I mean, obviously Indians, a big counter to Franks, so will be important to see how that develops for Knight against Franks here. Both players fairly even in times. I think the only reason that New Normal has a slight lead with this Vil here, so it's about a half a Vil or so, maybe a 3/4 of a Vil in research time, is just getting that TC up that much faster. Knight and New both starting with their villagers kind of in like the southern quadrant, so gonna be very interesting. And yeah, Mr. Man, not having gold access for the long term could be quite a problem. And honestly, he has, what is this, 4 tiles of 800, and then he's got to move out to this terrain here, which is honestly close to his opponent as well. Will likely be a very heavy point of contention as the game goes on.
Yeah, you can definitely see one way this for developing being new normal pushing Knight off this gold and it causing issues between them. Just rough position for Knight. He's got a lot of potential being locked in here, so I hope he's able to break out before anything crazy happens.
Yeah, and I mean, I just prefer this position that new normal's taken. He's able to get a bunch of boars. This is like his third or fourth boar on its way in. Looks like he is going to lose a vill here to the boar. And he kills the boar with the town center. Oh, well, luckily he's already had a few, so... Although that does hurt a bit, and he does now drop in the villager lead. He's down by 2 vills, maybe a little idle time there.
Very, very minor idle time for both players at this point. That's something worth noting compared to what we've seen now. We're 8 minutes into the game and we have less than 10 seconds of idle time on the TC for each player. And that's something noticeably different from the previous bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. Idle time going to be less of a factor here in the early going for these players that have a bit more skill in the game, a lot more practice. But nonetheless, I mean, it's going to come down to a few other factors as well. And Knight, obviously with a counter civilization to Franks here, I think is still going to be in a fine position. Just has to make it to Castle Age to be able to get those camels out.
Absolutely, but you definitely want to give the advantage here to Indians as the game goes on. I mean, early on, if you're looking at feudal age, the Franks should have an advantage, and if they can get a good lead there, they'll be fine. But the longer the game goes on, the more I feel Indian camels can do the job.
Yeah, and I mean, the pressure from Franks in this faster feudal timing going to be very important, as we have a 20 pop-up from new normal. It's a pretty standard build for Franks, and Knight also clicking up at but a 19 pop-up, so one less vill, even though he had the villager lead. Not exactly sure what happened to him there, but
we're talking idle time. We've jumped up to 1 minute 11 seconds for Knight.
Yeah, so we'll see what Knight has here coming up into the next age. Going to be a lot easier for him to wall up and defend early with his starting position, however, as compared to new normal. If he gets hit with scouts, he won't be able to move out too far from his TC without being under a lot of pressure. Knight having a ton of floating wood at this point, likely gonna drop a few farms after the stable comes out. But being on this lovely wood node, gonna have a ton of wood. Gonna take forever to chop through these trees, actually.
Yeah, and that's almost a downside. You're not going to get this farm space with 250 wood. It's going to take a while before you clear this out and can build farms around your TC.
Yeah. Knight, this is the second time I've seen him today not having best efficiency with his mill on the berries here. He's been walking a little bit of distance, not wanting to build that mill there. And yeah, Exorcist Knight lost game number 1 to New Noble. God, I'm stumbling over names. New Normal took game 1. The rice farms are on their way out here for Knight as he drops a few of them. Stable, not yet up. Oh, there it is, actually. So stable for both players. Going to be scouts, heavy scouts, I think, here.
And the Indians not many advantages in a scout or a Franks here in feudal age. So he's got to do something obviously for some defense, but his focus has to be on giving up.
Yeah, and I mean, He's going to need bloodlines to really take even-numbered fights at this point, with Franks having that additional HP on them, 54 to 45. Either upgrades or more numbers for Knight is what he's going to need. It's like Knight might get lucky and find some vills out here. Quick wall attempt comes in, but not entirely. There is a spear here to defend, though, so Knight likely just gonna hit and run. Oh, actually chooses to take the spear on. And it looks like he's going to be rewarded with a decent amount of idle time and picks off a villager here, so not a bad position. Looks like only one scout forward here for new normal so far. Another thing I love about this map is it's just messy. It's like new normal might pick off this Vill here as well. So gonna take off a Vill with one. Gonna be in a fine position. Scout or farm numbers are coming out galore here. We have 8 traditional farms and 4 rice farms for Knight. So 18 on food though now for new normal. Going to be very hard to keep up with the scout production with so few on food in comparison. 20 on food for new normal as compared to Knight, who only has 13 at this point.
Right, but you know, if maybe Knight has a military numbers advantage right now, if he can get in on the eco and do some damage, maybe he can even that out a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be something to look into. Blacksmith is on its way up here for new normal. Knight getting his blacksmith up as well, so potentially both players going for a heavier feudal age with some eco or some upgrades for his military units. Knight does dive on some vills here. Looks like he is going to lose some scouts in the process. Creating some idle time, taking out another villager. Military numbers are just about even. New normal actually with one additional military unit, but it looks like it's probably spears for defense, so he's definitely focusing on defending a bit more here. Franks, I feel like an underrated civ on this map though. All of the additional forage bushes around with that bonus going to be something to look out for going into the later rounds here. Yes, these are all best of 3s for the early rounds. Sorry to cut you off. What were you saying there?
No, I was agreeing with you about the Franks and berries.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of berries on this map.
Definitely going to be something we have to look for moving through the 1400 bracket. Wheelbarrow on its way in here for Knight, but Castle Age headed in for new normal. And this again, I feel like it's going to come down to these earlier uptimes really paying off. I mean, one Knight, maybe 2 Knights coming, as we're going to have a second stable up here for new normal now. You know, it's going to be a pretty massive swing here, and obviously not on the way up yet. Ooh. Double archery range coming in for Knight, along with the market, so maybe he's thinking about a CA switch.
How are Indian CA? I don't even know.
Have great CA, but the problem is he's going to be behind, and he's going to have to go camel, and he's investing a lot into CA at this point. And as Exorcist alluded to, his eco balance is not the greatest at this time.
And it's unfortunate, but you know, I think we're looking at Knight on this way to Castle Age now, and you know, this is what we talked about. This is where the Indians are going to have a chance to shine compared to the Franks.
But yeah, but he has to go for the right comp, and at this point we're not seeing that, which could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the Cav Archers against Franks. I think hard to argue against straight camels, but
Yeah.
maybe there's a good reason here.
Scouts remaining here for new normal as well. Gonna get Vil pick off here. Does drop or try to drop quick walls, but these scouts are in, and Knights coming in behind this. 48% of the way to Castle Age. It's gonna be difficult to defend here. He does have a few spears, but looks like new normal is just gonna back away. Actually, kind of surprising. This is single elimination, Exorcist. Double elimination, you will likely not see that from me. I mean,
yeah, it's not looking great, but for Knight though, he hasn't been playing for quite a while. He's been moving. He almost didn't play because he hasn't been into it. So you can't fault the guy. I really appreciate him showing up and giving it a shot. Or it would have been nice to see him have a little more success in this, though.
Yeah, I mean, he still, I feel like, is in a okay-ish position. He could potentially still pull this out. I mean, he's going in for a second stable, so Bloodlines,
I agree.
Camel's on its way out here, and I mean, Camel's being such a good counter as we saw in the first game. I mean, still
and
scouts out here as well.
Right. I don't want to write Knight off, right? It's a good player. This isn't the end or anything, but like he's got 2 tiles of gold that are more than halfway depleted, and that's it. And then nothing's safe. It's just if he can get the numbers out to defend and get a TC up on that gold right there, where he's building it, then this feels like it goes longer. But I just hate this position. It feels so tight.
Yeah, position definitely feels rough. Camel numbers are starting to build, though. Husbandry also on their way in. No upgrades, though, going to be an issue here for him. Camel's not going to be as efficient trading, and I think Knight realizes it, trying to keep those camel numbers alive until he gets the eco for some of those upgrades. One thing I'm surprised that I haven't seen, and the only reason I can think of this is we've seen so many games. Maybe we just haven't seen the scouting for new normal. But yeah, no, he sees the one wood line that Knight's taking. Why not try to get a tower over there? We haven't seen very many aggressive towers, and I'm still kind of confused as to why that is, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. A tower would end this game, more or less.
Yeah, tower on this wood line that Knight's taking would be devastating. And there's no way that he's going to be on a counter tower. He's not on stone, which new normal has scouted almost the entirety of this base and should know this. Three town centers behind this for new normal. The economy lead is going to slowly start to get out of hand if Knight can't force something to happen here. Pikemen also in for new normal, so Pikemen gonna do pretty well against the camels, even with Knights out on the field.
But the military numbers aren't that far off, and Camel should have the advantage as long as these pikes don't come in on the fight. If he can avoid the pikes, take good fights against the Knights, this isn't a terrible position. He's got gold secure now. He's got more farming space secured, and I love this. Look, TC going up in the north. New normal is distracted in the bottom. This is perfect from Knight. That's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah, has to keep expanding the eco. Continually getting housed right now, though, as he has one village putting down quite a few houses now. Not ideal. But, I mean, he has expanded a little bit here, so hopefully he can do something. And obviously with camels being the counter to Knights, Would expect to see. Ooh, it's actually going to be crossbow. So Knight elects to go into the crossbow upgrade, as he has 2 out on the field now. Feels like too much of a gold investment. I feel like skirmishers would have been a better option here.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to counter the spears. Yeah, Skirm might be better. He doesn't have a lot of gold. I mean, he has a lot of gold available, but he doesn't have a lot of gold in the bank here.
Yeah.
But fourth TC coming up. I mean, with this, maybe he's going to be able to get an eco lead here. Compare, 4 TCs if he's able to produce.
Yeah, this is a really awkward position for Knight and for New Normal, taking these random fights around these wood lines. But yeah, I mean, it could become a very big deal that he's got all this expansion going on.
Absolutely.
And one thing we haven't touched about is the wood situation for New Normal, as he's just taking all these small wood lines. Could eventually run into some issues expanding if we have a good bit of mobility on the side of Knight here. Honestly, I really like his chances, as these crossbow numbers will continue to grow. Not going to be as hard to take down pikemen here.
Yeah, and we favored the Indians. The starting position was awkward. But I think this TC up on the north changes the thing if he keeps spreading out. We've seen map control decide a lot of games and a lot of series, a lot of sets in the previous bracket. There's no reason to think it won't continue.
To take a fight, though.
No, not enough crossbow yet. No, don't take this fight. Don't take this fight.
Yeah, and a really good positioning there from
All,
Normal.
Absolutely. Knight, I would have liked to see Knight draw the Spearman back to the TC, perhaps. But not the worst, though. I mean, most of the camels are saved here, but these crossbow will go down.
Yeah, but losing his camel numbers at this point, not something he can afford. He is doing the right thing now, though. I feel like running to the back with this group here, hopefully gonna try to distract his enemy, buy himself some more time to build up those numbers. But crossbow is just going down one by one here in the front.
Yeah, it's a position where I'd love to see a castle, but without stone in this corner, I mean, he could get stone near his other TC, perhaps.
Yeah, it feels rough, because it looks like it's going to be a battering ram pike push here soon, and honestly, I think this will kill him if he doesn't get these crossbow numbers back up. Yep, and here comes all the rams with the knights. Crossbow numbers not available. I think this TC goes down at the very least here, and I think that's going to be a huge win here for New Normal on that position. I mean, taking him off of that gold, whereas it's going to be about out of gold where he's got it in his base right now. Lots and lots of vills going down here, and yeah, the GG comes in. Knight not in the mindset, it seems, to play at his preferred level. Obviously, he has had a lot going on. So, thanks for playing, Knight. Appreciate you giving it a go. GG's. Good luck next, as we will have New Normal moving on here. And yes, Exorcist, there is an issue with 2 players right now that have elected to play Arabia. They have been spoken to.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone got signed up for this tournament and didn't understand what it was.
I agree. I have no idea.
Exorcist, we wouldn't say that because we are very professional organizers here. But you are welcome to have your opinions, and they may or may not be disputed.
Yeah. Just a rough go here for Knight. A rough map position, and ultimately a really good play from New Normal going into Pike Ram, obviously seeing that it's going to be able to counter most of everything Knight had available there. Crossbow numbers not able to help defend there, so good luck and GG's to New Normal. But guys, the show is not over. Today we will be moving on to the next set, so just give us a minute and we'll load those games up.